We're talking with Mississippi College head coach John Bland as we get set for this week's game at Valdosta State University. But Coach, first of all, let's go back to the West Florida game. Well, what an exciting ball game the Choctaws played down in Pensacola. 82 yards in the last 3.5 minutes on that drive that tied the ball game. It was a good mix of running the ball, passing the ball, taking advantage of opportunities. Talk just a little bit about that drive and what that drive means and what it shows for the maturity of this team.
Well, you know, as you get to the sideline and things aren't going your way, you know, it's a hard-fought ball game. As far as that goes, we had a 14-0 lead. Yes, we drove down there and scored. Then we had a defensive touchdown, and then we kind of struggled offensively. I think after we watching the film, we saw that most of those drives were stopped. Most of them were stopped. We were self-inflicted. We didn't execute like we were capable of doing. It has a little bit to do with West Florida, and they played extremely hard, and they're athletic, and they brought a lot of pressure. But for the most part, we could have continued to move the ball. It's going to take a good football team to do that, and I think that's what we are. Well, it finally at the last one, we were 89 yards away, and we go the whole way. And on the last play of the game in regulation, we scored, and then we got a decision to make. We didn't have any timeouts. Well, do we go for two or go into overtime? And it was those last 3 quarters were so tough, and it was so difficult. I probably could have gone one, but I knew the inconsistency that we had throughout that time. And I said, you know what, if we have an inconsistency here in overtime, we can still score, but if we have that inconsistency on the one play, then we give them the game and we don't give ourselves a chance. So there was some thought about going for 2 and trying to end it right there. And of course, hindsight says, let's do it right now. I'd have been 100% if I could do that, look into the future, but we didn't, and it didn't work out for us.
But you know, the fourth quarter has actually been pretty good for the Choctaws this season. Over the last 3 ball games, especially, that hasn't always been the case as this program has gotten into Division II full-time over the last several years. The fourth quarter, you've actually not just been in ball games, you've had positions to win at the end of ball games.
No doubt about it. And I think that has to do with our players. No doubt. They believe that we're going to win. They have confidence. They know we're capable. And no matter what's going on throughout the game, we're going to be in tight ball games versus really good competition in this league especially. And to have that confidence and have that belief that we're going to win will always give you a chance in the fourth quarter, as it has the last 3 ball games.
Well, you mentioned the Choctaws jumping out to that 14-0 lead. There was 2 big plays in the first half, 4th and 1 at the 22-yard line, and then Jordan Wright takes it in all the way for the touchdown, and then the Derek Hawthorne interception return for the second straight week. He gets a touchdown. Those kind of big plays, I think it really kind of set West Florida back just a little bit. They weren't maybe expecting those kind of big plays from the Choctaws.
No, this is a team, you know, of course, I hate to talk about the past, but 2 years ago, they're in the national championship. We know they're talented. We know they're really good. And for us to jump out on them 14-0, I think it opened their eyes and said, hey, we're for real. And at the end of the game, you know, taking it all the way to overtime, I just believe that we're not only toe-to-toe with these guys. I believe we're going to be better than most of the teams in our league. If we execute, and if we do on both sides of the ball and in special teams, I think we've got the better football team. And I think that has to do with our coaches, the way they've recruited, and we've got really good, talented players, and they got heart and passion. And if we can pull it all together, I think we can do some good things throughout the rest of the season.
You know, West Florida, I think their offensive line did a really good job. We saw a lot of nice running lanes for their running backs, especially in the second half when they kind of said, well, we found what's going to work. It may not what worked for them last week, but it's working tonight. Their O-line did a good job. I know the Choctaws were at least a man down on defense with Michael Washington being out.
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna tell you, the whole thing as far as execution goes for offense and defense, you know, fitting in the right gaps, and when they're finding a place to run, usually it's because either they won on that play, or they won with their position block, or maybe we were in the wrong gap, and sometimes that happens. You start trying to do someone else's job, so it goes for defense too. We've got to play consistent. We've got to play that way. We can, and I think this. I know that a couple of those touchdowns, we helped them, because our offense gave them a short field. You know, we started off with a kickoff back to the 16-yard line. We went backwards and gave them the ball with a short field. That allowed them to tie the game up at 14-14. And then we ended up giving them another one after we had a long run, and we got down there again and we gave them the ball on a turnover. And those are the 2 times they scored. That's it until overtime. And so our defense played really well. They played hard. Yeah, they gave up just a little bit. But I think with more and more consistency of doing your job, and not just that, but doing your job well, I think we'll have not as many things where people are thinking, hey, they're running the ball on us, they're throwing the ball on us. We're playing really good defense right now.
Well, playing good football going into Valdosta State is going to be awfully important. You put 42 points on the national champions last year here at home, and based on these last 3 games that the Choctaws have played, I think there are a lot of people around the Gulf South Conference going to look at this game and say, look, this is something Valdosta is going to have trouble with the Choctaws, and this is going to be a game that may be up for grabs.
Well, they do have a new coaching staff. Their coaching staff left and go to a Division I school in South Florida, and so this is a different staff. A lot of the same players, though. They're very talented. Obviously, they're number 1 in the nation, and they've proven that they can play. Yes, they probably are going to come into this ball game knowing that we had a really good day offensively. I think we were rushed for 473 yards or somewhere in there. I don't know if that was the final, but it was a lot of yards, and we scored a lot of points, more points than anybody in the nation until the final 1 minute of the national championship, and that's when Ferris State went back to 47 or 46, whatever. They passed that up. Anyway, we haven't been scoring that many points right now. We're trying to still find our way in our consistency offensively. So I know that we can. We're capable. But I know Valdosta State's capable of playing really good defense too. They're good in all areas: offense, defense, and special teams. So we'll have to play extremely well, and that is our plan.
Number 1 team in the country on the road. Have you had any indication from your players that they feel any extra pressure because of the circumstance of this ball game?
No, I don't. You know what? There was disappointment that we lost last week. We played good. There's no moral victory. Say, look, we just played a really good football team close. We wanted the victory, and those guys did too. So I think they believe that they can win there. Yes, we realize that Valdosta's number 1, and they're really good. They've got a 19-game win streak. And we're going in there to stop that streak, and that's our goal right now. And I believe our players believe it can happen. They know we need to play well, but they know that I don't believe that our team is intimidated either. They're going to expect to win every play. And I think that's going to be the challenge that we'll have to do on their field especially.
Well, Coach, again, we appreciate your time, and we wish you good luck in the game against Valdosta State.
Thank you, Dr. Vance.
Thank you.